Anin bojo kanawia, Mr. McLeod Mondiamina, Bajinaka Queen Ween Monim. I just want to let you guys know that links to the dictionary, PDFs to the worksheet, audio files are in links in the description of this video, as well as any other resources that'll help you out with this lesson will eventually be there as soon as I'm done making them. Aho, miigwech. Anin bojo, Mr. McLeod Mondaya. And so today's lesson is on noun possession. So we're expressing ownership. So first off, we should cover some noun genders. So a noun is a person, place, thing, or idea. Some might say quality. So we have two classes of nouns in Ojibwe, animate and inanimate. For Nishnaabemwin language learning, I find it easier not to attach any meanings to the terms animate or inanimate. Don't think of these nouns as alive nor dead. Just think of them as category A and category 1. Neither supersedes the other, and neither is alive nor dead. One of the problems with associating words like alive with animate in Nishnaabemwin is we come across examples that don't align with our English understanding of nouns. So here I've indicated the points to write down in your notes. Please pause the video here and write these down before moving on. All right, let's move on. So to find out if something is animate or inanimate, ask a speaker to pluralize the noun. So singular refers to just one of something. Plural refers to more than one of that same thing. So to tell if a noun in Ojibwe is animate or inanimate, the plural suffix ends in an N sound. So jima nun for boats, nin jean for hands, and kwakwadon for balls. To tell if a noun in Ojibwe is animate, the plural suffix has to end in a G or K sound. So keep in mind, not all nouns we've learned in this class are universally accepted as animate or inanimate in all dialects. So here I've indicated the points for you to write down in your notes. Please write these down before moving on. All right, let's move on. So this image here means write down everything on the screen. So please write everything on the screen down. So first person singular is 1 PS. That's in Ojibwe, that's neen, that's I or me. Second person singular, that's 2 PS. In Ojibwe, that's gin, that's you. Third person singular is 3 PS. In Ojibwe, that's ween, that's she or he. Fourth person, singular or plural, is 4P. And that's someone else's stuff. So that's third person's objects. 1PP is first person plural. In Ojibwe, that's ninwin. And that's the us or the we, but not you. So we're excluding you. Hence why it's called the we exclusive. The 2 to 1 person is second and first person. So ginwin is the Ojibwe, and that means all of us. Second person plural is 2PP. In Ojibwe, that's ginwa. That means all of you. All you guys. Use guyses. 3PP is third person plural. And Ojibwe, that's weenwa. That's they or them. So we'll give you a chance here to write these down in your notes before moving on. All right, let's move on. So pronoun ownership. So morphology is how we understand the formation of words. For example, how prefixes and suffixes affect the meaning of our words. So today's lesson will be focusing on two parts.
The first part will be, we'll cover the rules of our prefixes. The second part will cover the rules for our suffixes. Just like our VAI lesson, where we use prefixes and suffixes to illustrate who is verbing, we'll use the same singular prefixes and use a possession suffix, im, to express who owns that noun. So part 1, prefixes. So the first sound of our prefixes, and please, again, write all this stuff down on this slide before moving on. So earlier in the lesson, we learned our Ojibwe pronouns. We'll use the first letter of those words at the beginning of our prefixes, except for third person singular and third person plural. So first person, to express that I own something, we're going to take our Ojibwe word neen, and we're going to use the n we're going to use that first letter n as our prefix. So n plus noun plus our suffix im is my noun, my object. For second person singular, you, that's gin, we're going to take that first sound, the G sound, and use that as a prefix for our noun, and then use the im suffix for your object, your noun. For third person singular, his or her stuff, instead of using w sound, we're going to use an sound. Then our noun, and then our im prefix, his or her stuff. Keep in mind that because is a short vowel sound, we're not going to use it all that much, but there's still evidence that it's there. And other dialects still use this O sound. So before we move on to our suffixes, we have to discuss sounds that occur between our personal pronoun prefixes and G and O and our nouns. Those are our extended pronouns, do, and our D prefix, d. So again, I'll let you guys pause here to record these in your notes before moving on. All right, let's move on. So extended pronouns. So extended pronouns are a pronoun prefix with an additional sound. It appears that extended pronouns are prevalent among many Eastern dialects of Nishnaabemwin. Some use de, others use da, or do. Nipissing Nishnaabemwin prefers the use of do as its extended pronoun. So you can use your extended pronoun on any noun, but I recommend following some rules. And so here I've indicated the points for you to write down in your notes before moving on. We'll give you a chance to pause here before moving on. All right, let's move on. So when to use extended pronouns? And again, you see the image there. So let's write all this stuff from this slide down. So you can choose to always use extended pronouns and overproduce, or if a verb or noun begins with the same letter as your pronoun prefix. So for example, ninj is hand. It has an n sound at the beginning. And if we want to say my hand, neen is our pronoun prefix, or an n sound. So because Ojibwe doesn't like multiple consonant sounds that sound the same, this would be a great opportunity to use do to provide some clarity for whose hand we're talking about here. So do ninj for my hand. So if a verb or noun has multiple consonant sounds at the beginning of the word, so for example, mzinigun. So we can see here, mzinigun has a MZ sound. If we were to put a G in front or an N sound, that'd be really hard for us to say. Mzinigun. It's just too difficult. Or gmzinigun. So if we want to say your book or paper, that do prefix allows us space to say this coherently. So gdomzinigun. So I'll give you a chance to pause the video here and write these down in your notes before moving on. All right, let's move on. All right, so extended pronoun versus tense markers. So some people interpret the extended pronoun for a present tense. The following is my personal arguments for why do is not a present tense. So when and where tense markers are used versus when and where extended pronouns are used. So tense markers appear as prefixes for every type of verb. Extended pronouns never appear on VII words because there are no pronoun prefixes. Tense markers appear in between the verb and every pronoun prefix for VAI words. Extended pronouns only appear after the N or G or O pronoun prefix. So tense markers are used consistently among all dialects. Extended pronouns are not consistently universally used among all dialects. Tense markers never appear in front of nouns. Extended pronouns do appear in front of nouns, just like pronoun prefixes. So, if a noun starts with a vowel sound, we insert a D sound in between our personal pronoun prefix, those are your N, G, and O sounds, and the vowel sound. So for first person, N, and then our D sound, and then our noun, bob, kagun. So da, bob, kagun is how we would incorporate the pronoun prefix and the D sound. It goes in between the pronoun prefix and the noun. For second person singular, so g, instead of ga, bob, kugnan, we're going to say gada, bob, kugnan. Again, the pronoun prefix, the D sound, and then our noun starting with a vowel sound. And then the last one, third person, so and then bob, kugan. So again, we're going to use that D sound, da, bob, kugan. Now, because we're vowel droppers, we're going to de-stress that O sound, so we're not going to pronounce it, but we are going to use the D sound. So there's still evidence that the O was around. So, da, bob, kagun. So notice how in third person singular example, we get rid of the O sound. Short vowel sounds are de-stressed whenever possible. The D sound demonstrates that there is a personal prefix present, we're just not stressing it. So make sure to check the full vowel forms of our words in our dictionary to know if there's a de-stressed vowel sound at the beginning of each noun. So here I've indicated the points important for your notes. Please pause the video here and write these down before moving on. All right, let's move on. All right, so part 2, suffixes. So our ownership suffix, im. So we have a hierarchy of questions to ask how to attach our ownership suffix. The first is if a noun ends in a single I sound. Second, if a noun ends in any other vowel sound. So third, if a noun ends in a consonant sound followed by a Y suffix connector. Fourth, if a noun ends in a consonant sound followed by a capital W suffix connector. Fifth, if a noun ends in a nasal sound. And sixth, for everything else, add im. Second last consonant rule applies to rules 3, 4, and 6. So please write these points down before moving on. I'll give you a chance to pause the video here. All right, let's move on. So if a noun ends in a short I sound. So our pattern here is to add the appropriate prefix from the first half of our lesson. And then if a noun ends in a short I sound, you're going to extend it to a double I and then add the M suffix. So for examples, we're going to use ki for land or earth and nene for man. So here we have ki. It has a secret vowel sound in front we're going to bring back. Because it starts with a vowel sound, we're going to use our D prefix before our pronoun prefix. Then we're going to use our pronoun prefix. So we're using the first person, nda ki. Now we're going to extend our short I to a double I. And then add our M suffix. Ndakim for my land. For the next one, nene also has a secret vowel sound in front. We learned from our dictionary. It has an I in front. So because it has that vowel sound in front, we're going to use our D suffix or D prefix again, followed by a G sound. So we're using second person singular. Now because this ends in a single I, we're going to double it to a double I. And then add our M prefix. So we get rid of an NI sound. This is called haplology in linguistics. Haplology is when you have a recurring syllable and you get rid of one of them to reduce the length of the word. So this is how we go from nene for man to gidinim for your man or husband. Next, we're doing nene again. So bring back that I sound, bring that D prefix back because of our personal pronoun prefix, O. We're going to extend that I to a double I, then add our M prefix. And so we get rid of that extra NI for haplology. And lastly, don't forget to de-stress our short vowel sounds. So we're going to get rid of that O sound because it's the only one we can get rid of at the moment. So dinim is his or her man or husband. So this is how we go from nene to dinim, his or her husband or man. So here I've indicated the points for you to write down in your notes. Please pause the video here and write these down before moving on. All right, let's move on. So rule number 2, if a noun ends in a vowel sound, that's not a single I sound. So add the appropriate prefix as necessary from our first half of our lesson. If a noun ends in a vowel that is not I, simply add an M to your suffix. So our example is gima for boss or leader, dodo shabo for milk, and kwe for woman. So for the first one, we're going to use gima. Now because it has a secret vowel sound in front, we're going to bring that back as an O sound. Now with a single O, when we bring it back, we double it up. And then we add our D prefix. Next, we're going to use our pronoun prefix, N. And now we can use our ownership suffix, M. So endogimam for my boss or leader. Next one, dodo shabo. Because it doesn't start with a vowel sound and there's nothing indicated, we're just going to use our pronoun prefix, g. And now we can just add an M suffix to complete our ownership. Gedodo shabom for your milk. Next one for kwe, for putting this one in third person stuff, also known as fourth person. Because it has a vowel sound in front that's normally de-stressed, we're going to stress it. Because of the vowel sound, we need our D prefix. Now we're going to attach our personal pronoun prefix. For third person, it's an O sound, but the same rules apply for N or G. From here, we're just going to add our ownership suffix to complete the ownership, which is an M sound. And we have to remember to de-stress any short vowel sounds. In this case, it's our O sound in front. So this is how we go from kwe to dikquem for his or her woman or wife. So here I've indicated the points you should write down in your notes. Please pause the video here and write these down before moving on. All right, let's move on. All right, so now if a noun ends in a consonant sound, followed by a Y suffix connector. So again, add the appropriate prefix as necessary, indicated by the first half of our lesson. Next, you're going to turn the Y into a double I before adding an M suffix. So we're going to use the examples sub, which is net, and in bob for soup. So sub has that secret vowel sound in front. We're going to re-stress. Because it's a vowel sound, we're going to bring back our D prefix. Next, we're going to add our pronoun prefix, which is an N sound. So we're going to turn our Y suffix connector into a double I when we add the M suffix. So don't forget to de-stress our short vowel sounds. So in this case, it's going to be the second A sound. Bring it all in. And so that's how we go from sub, net, to in das beam, my net. For next one, bob. Now because this noun starts with a cluster of consonant sounds at the beginning, N and B right here, it's going to be really difficult to add an N or G sound in front. So we're going to use our extended pronoun, do, followed by a G sound for our personal prefix. Next, we're going to use our Y suffix connector, and when we add the prefix or the suffix M, we'll change the Y and the I to double I. So, gedon bo beam for your soup. So that's how we go from in bob to gedon bo beam for your soup. Lastly, for his or her net, we're going to use sub again. So bring back our de-stressed vowel sound, A, in front. Bring back our D prefix. And then we're going to bring back our O suffix, or O prefix. Next, we're going to bring our Y suffix connector up. And then we're going to change the Y and the I to a double I. Don't forget to de-stress your short vowel sounds. That's our O sound and our second A sound. Bring it all together. So that's how we go from sub for net to das beam, his or her net. So I've indicated the points important for your notes. Please write these down before moving on. All right, let's move on. So rule number 4, if a noun ends in a consonant sound, followed by a suffix connector, capital W. So again, add the appropriate prefix as indicated by the first half of the lesson. Turn the W suffix connector into an O sound before adding the M suffix. So for our examples here, we're using kick, which has a W suffix connector for cooking pot, and pquaquid, which has a W suffix connector and means ball. So first, we use the word for kick, and it has a de-stressed vowel sound in front we're going to bring back. Because it starts with a vowel sound, we're going to use our D prefix, followed by our pronoun prefix. So, and then from here, bring back our suffix connector. Now when we add our ownership suffix, we got to change the W and the I. They morph together to form an O sound. So, indakikum for my cooking pot. Next one, pquaquid. Now, because this one has a cluster of consonant sounds at the beginning, it'd be really hard to add a pronoun prefix to the beginning. We got a PKW sound at the beginning. So we're going to use our extended pronoun, do, followed by our personal pronoun prefix for yours, so g. We're going to bring back our suffix connector, W. Bring in our ownership suffix, I am, and the W and the I together will form an O sound. Bring that in to complete the translation for Gdop Kwakwadom, for your ball. Next, we're going to use kick again for our third person example. So we'll bring back our short vowel sound that we de-stress usually, that A sound in front. Because it starts the vowel sound, bring our D prefix, and we're going to use our O prefix for our personal pronoun. Bring back our suffix connector, attach the I am prefix, or I am suffix. The W and the I are going to morph together to form an O sound. Again, don't forget to de-stress our short vowel sounds. In this case, it's the O sound in front. So, dakikum for his or her cooking pot. So that's how we go from kick, cooking pot, to dakikum, his or her cooking pot. And here I've indicated the points important for your notes. Please write these down before moving on. All right, let's move on. So rule number 5, if a noun ends in a nasal sound. So again, attach the appropriate prefix as indicated by the first half of our lesson. Secondly, turn the H to a Y before adding your I am suffix. So our example here is giggle. It's the only one I can think of. So we're going to attach our N suffix. So because there's no vowel sound in front. So ngiggle, and we're going to change that H to a Y and then add I am. Ngiggoyim for my fish. For this next one, for second person, because our noun starts with a G sound and our personal pronoun prefix starts with a G, we're going to use the extended pronoun for this one just to provide some clarity. So put the do there and the G sound in front, because without it we'd have a double G, gigigo or kigigo. Next we're going to change the H to a Y and add I am. So gdogigoyim for your fish. And lastly, for third person singular, we're going to add an O sound to the front because that's our pronoun prefix. Next, we're going to change the H to a Y and add our I am suffix. And again, don't forget to de-stress our short vowel sounds. In this case, it's an O sound. So that's how we go from giggle, fish, to gigoyim, his or her fish. So I didn't indicate this in the PowerPoint, but please write down the title and what we do to the H sound. So this area right here, record this in your notes before moving on. I'll give you a chance to pause here. All right, let's move on. So for everything else, we're going to add I am. So these examples don't end in any vowel sound, nor do they have any suffix connectors. Add the appropriate prefixes as indicated from the first half of our lesson. After checking the second last consonant rule, add the I am suffix. So for our examples here, we have mdweweshchigan, which is phone, and gitsim for parent. So for mdweweshchigan, so since it has a cluster of consonant sounds at the beginning, MDW, we're going to use our extended pronoun do to give us some space. We're going to add in the N suffix for mine. So ndom dweweshchigan. Next, we're going to check our second last consonant rule here. So we have an N sound. That's our last consonant. Second last is G. Short vowel or vowel sound in front, short one after it. So we got to get rid of that short vowel sound. Bring in the N and then add in our I am suffix. So mdweweshchignim, ndom dweweshchignim for my phone. For parent, gitsim, because this starts with a G sound and our second person pronoun starts with a G sound, we're going to use the extended pronoun again. Next, we're going to add our G sound to the front. Now we're going to count to our second last consonant, see if we have to drop anything. So the last one is an M sound, second last is a Z sound. There's no vowel sound in front, and this is a long vowel sound, so there's nothing to get rid of here. So we're just going to add our IM suffix after. So gdo gitsi mim for your parent. And for third person, we're going to use mdoiwes shigan again. Because it starts with a bunch of consonant sounds in front, we're going to use our extended pronoun. Do. Add our O suffix for our third person. Now, we're going to get rid of that A sound just like we did at the top because of our second last consonant rule. And we're getting rid of the O sound too because we can drop that. Bring it in, and we'll add our IM suffix. And so, dom doewes chig nim for his or her phone, which is also fourth person. So, dom doewes chig nim. So this is how we go from doewes chigan to dom doewes chig nim. So here I've indicated the points important for your notes. Please write these down before moving on. All right, let's move on. So today's lesson summary. So in Ojibwe, we use morphology to express ownership through the additions of both prefixes and suffixes simultaneously. We learned that a noun has an N prefix to express I, own that following noun. We learned that a G prefix expresses that you own the following noun. We learned that a noun that has an O prefix expresses that she or he owns it, the following noun, but the O prefix is often de-stressed due to syncopation. We also learned how to incorporate the D prefix and the do extended pronoun. We learned how to complete the ownership inflection by adding our IM suffix to nouns that end in I sounds. Nouns that end in vowel sounds that are not short I. Nouns that end in a consonant sound followed by either the Y suffix connector or capital W suffix connector. And if a noun ends in a nasal sound, how to incorporate the IM into that. Miigwech besindwayeg misae aja. Thanks for listening to me. That's it for today.